Hi, I bet you're wondering why am I looking at a pile of what looks like chunky ice cream? Actually, what you're looking at is the raw metallic form of hematite, which is a metal. It's a raw form of iron. Um, when it's polished up, it looks very, very beautiful. I actually have a necklace made out of hematite beads, and it looks like black pearls. It's extremely cold, which is typical of metal because metal is going to be a contracting energy and, of course, transmits heat or cold very, very quickly. So the reason why I wanted to bring that up and show that to you is, first of all, you don't need to be watching me read this chapter to you, but I wanted you to look at this metal and contemplate some ideas because this is the season of metal. And the metal has a lot of attributes between sights, sounds, temperatures, foods, spices, physical activity, mental activity, psycho-emotional activity. And so what I want to do is I want to read this chapter to you, or just this portion of it, to give you an idea of part of what this medical Qigong or Tai Chi Qigong training is all about. It's about balancing the elements, so to speak. I know it sounds woo-woo, flip-flop, wearing granola head, hippy-dippy stuff. Some people do treat it that way, but it really does. It is a form of medicine based on observation that goes back, its roots go back over 4,000 years. So it's got a great deal of credibility to it. And a lot of Western medicine is beginning to understand the veracity of it and a lot of other benefits. So I'm going to read this portion to you. And as you're listening to it, I want you to ask yourself, are you this person or do you know somebody like this? So, Judy is an example of how life looks through the lens of a maladapted metal energy. She grew up with a father that was a strict disciplinarian, demanding and hard to please. When Judy graduated from college with high honors, he was critical that her grades were not even higher. After attending graduate school, she took a job with a pharmaceutical company, but again, he could not be pleased. Eventually, Judy cut off contact with him because he was so critical and constantly reminded her that she was not good enough. Unfortunately, his influence left her extremely self-critical and demanding, a perfectionist herself who became upset when she did not perform up to her own lofty standards. She held everyone else up to high standards as well, keeping a lengthy list of expectations for them ranging from values to moral integrity to work performance, which set her up for disappointment after disappointment. She could not accept the way things were in most aspects of her life, nor recognize her many gifts and talents. When her supervisor at work did not show her the proper respect, something she was most sensitive about, Judy decided to leave the job and move away. And even though she was a high achiever, her low self-esteem led her to deny herself the due she deserved, a clear reflection of her father's influence. Once again, this is a sidebar. Ask yourself, are you sometimes this person or do you know somebody who is like this? Getting back to Judy. Judy also had many regrets. Though she was only in her late 30s, it was difficult for her not to dwell in a melancholy way over choices she had made earlier in her life about her career and the few relationships she'd had. Though quite content on her own, she wanted a family to replace what she had lost in her family of origin. Her standards for a mate were, of course, impossibly high, leaving her alone and somewhat depressed. Sadness and grief ran deep for Judy. Her mother died when she was 20, a great loss in many ways. Her mother had been emotionally distant herself, but did give Judy love and emotional nourishment. Her death was a tremendous blow for Judy. To this day, she weeps over the loss. Excuse me. But the feeling of loss did not stop with this personal tragedy, for Judy also mourned many minor losses. Her favorite necklace lost on a trip to Europe, her too late offer on a house she wanted to buy, and on and on. In her mind, she possessed a large trove of many things that could have been hers, but never were. Once again, is this you or somebody that you know? However, Judy did not have many good However, Judy did have many good qualities. She was reliable and industrious, serious about accomplishing her goals at work, and driven to do her best. She was honorable and possessed a very strong sense of what was right and what was morally unacceptable. Though not very flexible in her ideas or opinions, she was very precise about everything she undertook. Like a fine chef's knife, her preciseness and clarity were of great value in her job and in her volunteer work at her church. She also felt a strong sense of spiritual connection. Her most important undertakings revolved around her pursuit of a connection to a higher purpose. When she moved to San Diego, her life changed for the better. She took a job at a biotech company run by a brilliant scientist that she greatly respected. The company management let her know how valuable she was and recognized her abilities. This made Judy extremely comfortable and diminished much of her cynicism and critical nature. She also found the church that met her needs, one that passed her high standards for the quality of leadership, integrity, and moral values. Best of all, Judy met and married a man who was very accepting of her. She came to me as a patient because she was unable to get pregnant and was chronically fatigued, a carryover from her earlier years of struggle. The maladapted metal Qi had taken its toll on her vitality. Years of self-demeaning thoughts and behaviors had affected her body balance and stress hormones. Elevated cortisol levels, the consequence of her maladapted state, diminished her sex hormones, resulting in infertility. There's a happy ending to this story. She was able to get pregnant by reducing the cortisol dysregulation stemming from her maladapted metal energy. She did this through accepting her imperfections, making peace with the sadness and regrets that she carried, using exercises to reduce her self-critical thinking, and medicine and imagery techniques to rebalance the metal Qi. So I know to some people it's like, okay, well, that's all very nice and good, but how the hell do I do that? Good question. So people forget, or I should say maybe doctors in Western medicine forget, that you are not just a test tube full of blood. You're not just a chem panel. You're not just a liver. You're not just a uterus. You're not just a foot. You're actually a completely integrated human being. And you have all these multiple hundreds of systems that work together. Now, they're all supposed to work together, but like with a car, if one thing goes wonky in that engine, it can cause problems through the whole engine. Like once I was on a road trip and my fan belt blew and left me stranded in the middle of nowhere because it also ripped up and destroyed my alternator. I was like, well, I was just peachy keen. So I had to get that fixed and get the car towed and yada, 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 yada. But there are things and practical exercises that we do in the medical Qigong program that helps the body, helps the energy inside the body, because we are basically like a huge organic battery. We need energy, and it's mostly in the form of bioelectrical energy. And of course, we need to have balanced thinking. And there are ways of doing this without pills, potions, and push-ups and burpees. So I invite you to come in and take class with us. Classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. in the morning. And if you're not able to make those hours, because unfortunately they are your work hours, I try to do a seasonal event on a Saturday where hopefully you're available to come in and participate in that. And that class that's coming up is going to be Saturday, November 11th at 10 a.m. at our facility. You are absolutely welcome to come. I invite you. I'll try to put a link below. I'm going to post this to YouTube and on the Facebook page that we have, Boomer Qigong, and I hope to see you there. In the meantime, you have a phenomenal day. Keep looking at the metal there and keep contemplating to yourself, what are the attributes of metal? Rigid, hard, they can be flexible if they warm up, and they can contract, they can be cold, they can be excessively hard, sharp knives, reflective, introspective. So I'm just giving you some of the words that are associated with the season, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And then there's a whole thing that goes with how to feed the body. And that includes, believe it or not, Qigong even touches on food, diet, and how to eat and when to eat. All right. Catch you guys on the flip side. Be seeing you soon and hope to see you in class.